Good to go, Mayor.
Welcome everybody to Augusta Township. It's our Christmas edition of the council meeting. So first thing we have on our agenda is basically the land acknowledgement statement. I'm going to ask Councillor Bowman, please.
Augusta Township acknowledges that we live and work on ancestral territories of the Indigenous people. The township recognizes all Indigenous people and honors their past, present, and future. The township values and respects their culture, heritage, and relationship to the land.
Thank you very much. So, Mayor's opening remarks, just a couple of things. I saved 7 cents on my cup of coffee this morning. I thank Mr. Trudeau for that. And the post office is open tomorrow, so we ought to get our bills. Merry Christmas. We did the food drive. Thank you very much. Everybody attended, that's staff and counselors. We did it 30th of November. We had a very good response. So again, thank you very much for that. We'll see what happens this Saturday, I guess, if we take home the cup, you might say. On the 11th of December, I did a Koji Code 10-minute little visual thing with them. So anyway, if you happen to be on Koji Code, but I don't imagine too many are in Augusta Township, but anyway, just kind of give up to what's going on. And other than that, Jenna and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, safe holidays and everything else. So, okay, we'll continue with the, our approval of agenda. So moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bowman. Be it resolved, the agenda for December 16th, 2024 be adopted. Does anybody have any additions or anything to add or? Okay, I see nothing. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Yep. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Moved by Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Henry. Be resolved that council approve the minutes of the November 25th, 2024 council meeting as distributed to all members. Does anybody have any comments? Anything brought forward? Again, I see nothing. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Yep. Does anybody have any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof they want to bring forward? Okay, I hear nothing. Any business arising from the minutes? Again, see nothing. Okay, we'll go on to delegations and presentations. The first one we have is certificate of appreciation and presentation for Mr. Glenn Mackey. So we'll ask Mr. Glenn to come on up. And we have a couple of things for him.
Get a picture.
Yeah, we want some pictures too.
Yeah.
So here, stand next to me, you get in the center. Anyway, Glenn's served on the Police Services Board for the last 17 years. And
I didn't count that far.
he finally said it's time to give that up, and not everything else. He's still on our planning committee and everything else. So, but it was time to give him the Police Services Board. But I'm sure we'll still hear from him from time to time.
Maybe.
So glad to hear that certificate from the council and the residents. Thank you. And Adrian has a little certificate for you too.
Here.
Heather? You want to say a few words?
A few words.
You
You don't give me blank.
No, just speak.
No, it's been a pleasure serving the township and council. I was counting up, I think I've got through 5, maybe 6 inspectors during that period of time, and 4 CEOs. When I first started volunteering, one of the first things I did was we did the ballpark over here. And that's going back in, almost 65 years ago. And built the bleachers and a barn up the road, brought it down here. guy who worked with Toshax. He did all the welding, brought out all the pipe, did all the welding, we put the screens up, and it was, we were ready to go. So that was a long time ago. So, and this, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2025.
Glenn, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Mackey, it's all yours now.
And I'd like to extend a thank you to your wife, Glenn, for all she put up with and allowing us to use you.
Well, that's 57 years now.
And everybody said, behind every great man was a better woman.
No. Thank you.
Okay, next we have on the agenda is a delegation, I should say a presentation concerning the 100 radon test kit challenge result. And Ms. Pam Workington, Karst, Executive Director. So I believe Pam's online. Good evening, Pam.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with the community and then also to be able to present on the results of this project. And so I believe Vicki mentioned she was going to share my presentation, or let me know if you want me and I can share my slide deck.
Actually, Pam, it might be easier for you to share and then you can just kind of scroll up and down your presentation if that's easier.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. I am the Executive Director of Karst, which is our National Radon Association, and project manager of the Take Action on Radon program. And it's the Take Action on Radon program that I work with, that we ran the program with. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah. Yep, perfect.
Okay, great. Good. So Take Action on Radon is a national initiative that's funded by Health Canada. With a goal to raise awareness across Canada. The 100 Test Kit Challenge is one of the initiatives that we run under this banner, and it gives us a great opportunity to work with communities such as yourself to raise awareness in the community about radon, but also to distribute 100 test kits to citizens so we can help them with the first step. It's a turnkey program where we provide all the tools and resources for each step of the process with no cost to the community, but it does require staff time. And so we do appreciate Karen and the team at the office that have helped us over the past year, and then Jessica as well, with distributing, collecting the kits, and then meeting to discuss the results. So really appreciate their time and effort in helping us connect with the community. So you're not alone in this project. We've been doing this in communities across the country for over 7 years now. We've been able to distribute it in over 150 communities. Actually, now I didn't update for this year's communities. 10 provinces, 5 First Nations, and 2 Métis groups. And so we've been able to distribute over 20,000 detectors. Typically, we have an average return rate of about 74%. So we see with this program, 74% of the people that take the detectors return them and get a report. And of those people that test above 200, we see about 30% of them take action within the first year to mitigate. And so I'll talk a little bit about how we're trying to increase some of those mitigation statistics. As I mentioned, we do this in communities across the country, and so you can see the communities here that we ran over this past year. This year we ran it not only with you, but also Woodstock and St. Thomas, Ontario, and then the past year we ran it in a number of Ontario communities as well. Now, radon is a concern because of its link to lung cancer. So exposure to elevated levels of radon can increase a person's risk of developing lung cancer. So it's a #1 cause of lung cancer for people who are non-smokers, and it greatly increases the risk of people who are smokers. So with the combined risk of their smoking and a radon increases it. And Health Canada estimates about 3,000 Canadians are dying of radon-related lung cancer. Now, it's naturally occurring all across our country. It's found in the soil, so uranium is in our soil. Eventually, uranium decays into radon. Radon is a gas, so it doesn't stay in the soil. It filters up into our outside air. It's in our outside air at low levels, but our concern is that we are seeing it at elevated levels in our buildings. So any building that has contact with the soil has potential. As we're tightening up our buildings, we are seeing levels increase. So Health Canada recommends that all buildings be tested using a 3-month test during the heating season, and that any houses that were found with levels above 200 becquerels per meter cubed should take action to reduce them. So at this point, most of the participants should have received a radon test report. It looks something like this. Most would have received it by email, although we have mailed out a couple reports throughout the summer if people didn't have access to email. And so from the community, we were able to distribute 63 of the detectors, and we saw about 50 of them receive reports. So they completed all the process of the testing. So you can see that it was a bit above our national average. So 79% of the participants completed the full process. And so as part of the report, they also get a link to more information, helping them to understand the number on their report that they receive. And we also held a webinar in the spring on what to do next if levels are high, and we do try and communicate with them to provide supporting information as well to encourage them to reduce levels if they are above the 200 becquerels. So of the 50 reports that were issued, we saw 22% of the tests were above Health Canada's guideline of 200. So you can see how the breakdown is here. So green is the reports that were below 100, and we had 48% in the green area. The yellow are reports between 1 and 200, and about 30% were in the 1 to 200 level. And then the 22% above 200 was broken down in the red. Here we have 16% between 2 and 600, and 6% were between 600 and 1,000. We also asked some optional questions. So you can see 42 of the 50 participants took time to give us some additional information about and so most of the participants were in single detached homes. There was one workplace that participated as well. And then all of the participants who completed the survey were owners. We do like to know if there are renters, just because we think they're going to need additional support, having communication with their landlord if they do need to reduce levels. And so it just gives us some information to help them with that support as well. Now, we also asked if anybody had tested before, and so most of the participants, this was the first time they had tested. 2 had previously tested. And then we also ask about any radon control measures. So in some areas of Canada, especially provinces on the National Building Code, some regions of Ontario, there are radon control measures as part of new construction, and some builders are voluntarily putting them in. So there was at least one participant that said they did have a passive system, but the majority didn't have or weren't aware if there was anything in the house. Now, we do also ask the breakdown of building age of the house. And so you can see in the data here that we had quite a spread of ages of homes, and a number didn't know or didn't provide their age of homes. But the numbers are quite low, so I just when we look across the age of homes, typically what we're seeing is that there are high levels across all ages of construction. You can see here that we didn't have a lot or didn't have any that were above 200 in the 80 to 89 era, or the 1940 to 59 era. But we did see most other jurisdictions that there was at least one home that was above the 200 level. And typically, as we do this in communities, we're seeing this, that there are high levels regardless of age. So one of our messages is that regardless of how old your home, whether it's new or old, you should test for your home for radon. Now, at this point, one of the things that we do is publish just a basic report publicly. And so all this information is to answer some of your questions, but this is the report now that we will post on our website and share it with participants, and we'll provide the link as well so that you can share it. And it has the first page is basic information about this project. So the number of homes and the reports, as I've talked about. Green is the homes that are below 100, yellow between 1 and 200. And then we simply use one color for the homes that are above the 200 level. So for the 22%. And then on the second page is some basic information about radon. So from where to get a test kit for anybody who reads the report and wants more information, as well as basic information about the current building code, mitigation information, and that sort of thing. Now, as I mentioned, we've worked with a number of communities in Ontario over the last number of years. And then there's also a number of communities through their public health unit who have done surveys as well. So we did provide a bit of a chart of where they are. So you can see that at 22%, Augusta is right in the middle here. We're certainly seeing communities with higher percentages as well as communities that don't have as many homes or prevalence of homes that are above the 200 level. And then just a couple other notes of common questions we get. So there is a national certification program across Canada. CNRPP is our national certification program. So anybody that is interested in supporting homeowners with getting trained to help with learning how to mitigate, we do have those resources available. In Ontario, the Ontarian Home Warranty covers radon mitigation for any home that is within the first 7 years. So we encourage homeowners to talk to their warranty program if their levels are above the 200. And then for anybody that has either a lung cancer diagnosis or is in a low to moderate income, Canadian Lung Association has a national mitigation grant. And so they can apply for that. They just need a quote from a CNRPP professional, a radon test such as the one they received participating in this program. And then they need to show proof of eligibility as well. We also do know that we've checked with CRA on what type of grants or tax credits that are available. They don't provide tax credits for the mitigation, but for any testing, you can claim it as a work from home expense under your maintenance category. So that is a small amount that's available. And then Health Canada has radon action guides. And so in the package, I included information about the radon action guides and some action items, suggestions that Health Canada has developed for municipalities. So there's simple things like including radon information on your website, holding a radon education session every November, which is our National Radon Awareness Month, enforcing building codes, and we do expect that in Ontario the building code will change come January, and the radon control measures are part of that. And so we can certainly provide education and information to building officials and local builders to support with that education as well. And then there's other things about testing municipal buildings and that sort of thing. So I just provided that as information, but certainly can help answer questions on that. All right, and I'm happy to answer questions on anything if you have any.
Council members, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, just one question. Did you find, like in North Brunswick, we have a lot of shallow soil, so a lot of bedrock. Did you find radon higher or lower where there was very little soil?
Like within the township of Augusta?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did actually map it and we took a look at it. We don't share that map publicly because we want to protect people's privacy, and it's easy to sort of pick and choose homes. But what we did find is that there were radon levels across the township. So you couldn't predict whether it was this area or that area. You know, one house was high, another house that was not too far away was low, another, so they're kind of scattered throughout the township. And there was no one area that we would say, oh, they're all clustering in that area or that area. They're really spread throughout the area.
Yeah.
And sorry, if I could just add to that, that's common that we find all across in our communities. We've only, out of the 150 communities, we've only found 2 communities where there's a pocket, so to speak. So really, it's just all across our country.
You good? Any other questions from council or anybody, staff? No, guess not. Okay, well, thank you very much, Pam, for taking the time to spend with us. Good report.
All right.
So, and again, hopefully our residents are looking into it. The way you talked, it sounds like they are, so that's good. So,
That's great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and have a great evening and Merry Christmas.
Okay, same to you. Thank you. All right, next we have correspondence petitions. I don't see any from the clerk or anything, so we'll go on, excuse me, we'll go on to reports. So as far as the counties go, we had joint service. Nothing really spectacular out of that other than the mayor of Gananoque brought up looking at resolutions saying for to look at regional fire and police. So We had a committee of the whole meeting, again, nothing really pertaining in that, and county's council, mostly a lot of little bylaws were passed. Like for stop signs and stuff like that, so. Really not too much on the county side. It's a lot of catch up, policies and stuff like that, so. Okay, next we have the, conservation areas. Deputy Mayor?
For Rideau Valley and South Nation, they both passed their draft budgets, and I think, Mark, you should have them by now.
We have them, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what they worked on the last while, and then also we had a bit of a Christmas get together for South Nation, which was a good affair.
Any questions, Deputy Mayor? No? Okay, so recreation, does anybody wanna, anything to say in recreation? Ever, was kind of, I know they had Christmas parties going on and putting on.
One meeting last week was canceled because they didn't have quorum. So it's supposed to be tomorrow night, hopefully, and they had a bunch sick and then people out of town for their work and stuff like that, so.
They had their, not snow day, they had their, what do they call it, the winter fun day or Christmas, yeah. Cause the disc golf and all that was open, but I think it was raining that day, wasn't it? No?
Kathleen was there, I know
No,
Kathleen played.
Good day?
Kathleen
Good.
played some disc golf. No.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else? Okay. Library board.
In March, Angie is looking to retire, so they're looking to replace her. So we went over job descriptions and that kind of stuff at the last board meeting. This budget's pretty much done. So they're just ready for some numbers from us and then their budget's already. They had 6 new members in October. Just a reminder that they do have Lego Club morning story times on Wednesdays. Tuesdays, they have a homeschool activities and crafts. Needlework group, does needles and pins, on Mondays. And the library is looking to possibly see if they could do pickleball in the old rink.
Good.
And that's all I have. And I have a meeting this Thursday. So I'll have an update at the next meeting,
Okay, thank you.
the next.
Councilor Vaughn. Planning committee.
We've got one on the planning committee because the postal strike, the counties couldn't circulate the stuff with the sandwiches, so we'll probably with the back to work now, we'll have a busy January.
Good. And I skipped over economic development tourism committee. And I was there and I'm trying to think what we talked about because it seems so long ago. But, yes, first impressions, we went through that, which council did, I think, a week before, so that was about it, I think, pretty much. Okay, and police services board, we have, yeah, I think we have a meeting coming up in January. Hopefully everybody's done their training by then, so anyway, that'll be our first meeting, so. So administration. So I'll turn this over to Mr. Garrity.
So just a few things to update council on is, although it's not the news that the mayor wanted right now, but our 401s boundary signs will hopefully be completed sometime next year at the expense of the Ministry of Transportation. So no longer will it be the responsibility of the township. So that will probably save an estimated $75,000 to $100,000 that we do not have to come out of our own budget. So at this time, we're just now in the waiting for MTO to take care of making it part of their minor capital plan for next year. So we can get some boundary signs on the 401. So Mayor will be happy with that, and certainly attached to the agenda is a resolution that I believe council has in their package and looking for support tonight. It's something that a lot of municipalities are supporting in regards to ensuring that we continue getting dedicated infrastructure funds. So right now, currently, whenever there's a property transaction, the land transfer tax and the GST on the property goes right to our government. What we're asking for in this resolution is that some of those funds get redirected back to the townships or the municipalities so that we can use them towards infrastructure, road, bridges, anything that we want to increase as far as our asset management plans. So any questions that council has on this, certainly more than happy to answer it and certainly look for your support.
Before we get into that, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Gary?
Yeah, one question on the floor, one time, do we get any input and what to put on the sign?
So through you, Mayor, so back a couple of years ago, we did get a preliminary draft of the sign. My understanding with MTO is that they pay for the basic sign that says Augusta Township. We want to put community of opportunity underneath. We will pay the difference between their standard sign and the enhancement sign. So we'll know what that cost is. I can't imagine they'll be that expensive. But we'll get a bill for that, but they'll be responsible for doing all the installation and everything, so.
Are they pictures?
Yeah, so it was in one of the reports, but certainly I can circulate that back to council on what the sign will look like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Gary? We talked last meeting about having a list of the charities, not charities, donations for this year. So before the year closes, we still have some money in the kitty, so do we have that list available or?
So, one thing I was gonna look at doing is bringing it back, at our 2025 budget. So we have limited funds left over, that will just go to the bottom line. But what we'll look at doing is bringing back a 2025 budget, a list of everything that we have approved for 2024. And anything that has come forward, in the last, 3-4 months. We've had St. Lawrence Academy that came looking for money. So we'll bring all that back as a list of the 2025 budget to council.
Okay, so 2024 will show a surplus.
It'll show a small surplus. We're still waiting. We probably have a few $1,000s left in that account right now for donations, but the biggest part of that is our contribution we made to the Maple View Lodge, as well as the Sherwood Park Manor, I think it was, so.
All right, so Mr. Garrity said we have a motion. The members want me to read the motion? Members, I say. Thank you. Yeah, so you all have the motion in front of you, and is there any, let's do it. Let's move by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bowman. Motion, does anybody have any comments on that, other than what the CAO said? Okay, so I'll call the vote, all in favor? Carried. Yeah. Okay, next we have reports. And we have the financing report 2024-139, finance and variance report, moved by Councillor Bowman, second by Councillor Henry. Be resolved that council accepts the attached statement of revenue and expenditures as of November 30th, 2024 for information. Do you have any comments? Questions? It's not the first time reading. So, basically, we're saying projected year-end surplus 104,827. This report goes to the end of November, I believe.
Correct.
We do have some surpluses, some overages. But it's well, description's good, at least we know what's caused it, everything. No questions, anybody? First, call the question, all in favor? Carried. Next, we have tax receivables update. And moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Vaughn, be resolved that council receive this report for information purposes. And Dan, does anybody have any comments? This is so easy to get out of hand, you know, these, so I'm glad, the deputy treasurer is on this, so it's satisfying to see a report, because at least we know where we stand. These things can't be fixed overnight, but it's almost just, you gotta keep the momentum going on, fortunately. Other questions? Okay, all the question, all in favor? Carried. You. Next, we have report 2024-152. Moved by Councillor Bowman, second by Councillor Henry, be resolved that council approve report 2024-152, recommending the new positions as outlined and the redistribution of responsibilities. This is a big one. So, and again, the CAO has given us the background on it, and, some job descriptions, et cetera. Anybody have any comments, questions? No pictures? Yes.
My only comment is, as the township, as we continue to grow, we've got to make sure we have the staff to accommodate that growth.
Yeah, anybody else? Yes, the,
And I think just to add is, you know, from a staff perspective, we're not about just creating staff for this, creating new positions. It's to address the ongoing demand that our staff are currently experiencing with their workload, but also looking long-term and looking at our vision when we talk about, you know, communication, or we talk about succession planning. You know, as people are leaving and people are retiring, we want to make sure we've got, you know, measures in place now rather than being a little bit more proactive. So this, to me, I think sets us up in a good way moving forward, so that we can, if we need to, you know, change things, we can shift and we can move as needed. So I said, we're just not all about just bringing staff for the sake of it. There's a place and there's a need for it. So.
yeah, my only caution is this is drove by economic development. So you've got to keep that going. So that runs this, because as soon as that slows down, everybody says they're busy, but you know, usually you have to make cuts. So just want to warn everybody that the momentum we have now is good. That's why we got to keep that going. But if that slows down, you don't need all the people. So that'd be discussion we'll be having around the table. I don't want to think that way, but I have to bring that forward because, it's how it gets out of hand sometimes, but we're all positive. We've been a good council. We've got a lot of things going on. We're going to hear a lot of good things later on. But, again, we just can't stop that momentum. Okay. So. All right. No other questions? Call question. All in favor? Carry. Yeah. Okay, next we have the report 2024 group benefits renewal. Moved by Councillor Bowman, second by Councillor Henry, be it resolved that council received for information the renewal of the township's group benefit plan with Desjardins Insurance Company with an annualized premium of $184,772.88, which is $15,397.74 per month, including sales tax beginning on the 1st of January 2025. So, that's, Mr. McDonald, you want to give us a quick blurb on that?
Sure. In speaking with Nick, the CAO and myself, Nick from Desjardins, They go to market every 4 years. Next year will be the next time they go to market. He did some initial rates, as I said in the report, and it came back very high. And then after discussions, they got that rate down to 15.7%. A lot of the increases that we're seeing are basic, our drugs, our paramedical, and our dental costs. And of course, those are going up because we're using them more as a township. So, I do have a copy of the policy and anything if people want to see it, but our life, our AD&D, dependent life, short-term disability, long-term disability, and our EAP, they all stay the same. So the increases are just in those two areas that I mentioned.
Any questions?
And we're similar to everyone else, like it's just a reality that the costs are going up.
Okay, no, well, thank you, and thank you, Mr. Garrity, too. Both of you, it's just, you gotta pound these insurance companies. Yeah, you think they're holding everything, but no, you gotta push right back. So I know you guys did this year, because if not, they'll just keep raising and raising and raising, so, no, good work on that. Okay, I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, operations report 2024-142, winter maintenance policy. Moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bowen, be resolved that Councillor enacts the new winter maintenance policy. And we love the pictures. Nothing wrong with the pictures. Now, I'm assuming, we're not. Did we have a winter policy before?
No, sir.
Okay. That's why I kind of figured it came out, so, which is great. Any member got any questions? Don, you want to say a few words?
So just the winter maintenance policy. It's all based on your Ontario 239-02, so that's your minimum maintenance standards, your Ontario regulations. We fall well within those parameters, and of course, if there's any questions, we got, of course, everybody knows we have 206 kilometers of centerline road here. We're approximately about 110 kilometers of paved and about 100 kilometers of unpaved roads. And we got our 6 parking lots that we maintain. So we are well within our minimum maintenance standards. This covers everything in between with snow accumulation, ice accumulation, and all that good stuff. And our time that we must be there to trigger the snow plows.
Yeah. You have a question?
Yeah, well, I think this is good for our residents too. If they have any questions on how the roads are done and everything, we can say, well, it's according to our winter maintenance policy, and they can look that up online. And because a lot of questions too is, why is my road not done before somebody else's road?
And it also has, I believe, the mailbox in there too. Mailboxes too are also in there. Mailboxes are the big thing for winter, yes.
Anybody else? No, I'm glad to see this. Again, another policy. This is another case of liability. If you don't have it in writing and something happens on one of our roads and we're sued, you know, it's always good to have a policy. We follow it and basically it's documented. So that's half the battle. So anyway, so thank you very much. So I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Yep. Next, we have the salt management policy, report 2024-143, moved by Councillor Bowen, second by Councillor Henry, be resolved that council enacts the new salt management plan policy. Again, we lot salt every year, but you gotta have a policy, right, John? And the residents be looking for it. You're rusting up my cars, I'm gonna sue you. Anybody have any questions? Call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you.
Can I, sorry,
Yes, Mayor.
can I just speak for your mayor? Mr. Mayor, so your salt management plan is mandatory if you are 5 consecutive years of 500 ton of salt or more within municipalities. So We are well over the 500 tons a year in the last 5 years. It is mandatory for us to make a policy for salt management use.
Yes, Doug.
Yeah, well, I know there was a little chatter on Facebook about why the plows were out, we only had a little light dusting of snow, but as soon as people drove over that snow, it turned to ice.
Yep.
And that's what they don't look at, and yet we're liable if we don't salt the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, very good. Thank you. Next, we have report 2024-144, safety equipment policy. And moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bowman, be resolved that council enacts the proper care and maintenance of township issued safety equipment policy. And again, otherwise known as PPE, does anybody have any questions? Don, you want to say anything? No, it's pretty.
No, this one's pretty explanatory, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're taking care of our assets and we're taking care of our employees.
That's right.
Thank you. Okay, I call the question, all in favor? Carried. Good. Next, we have the report 2024-145 full body artist policy. Moved by Councillor Bowman, second by Councillor Henry, be resolved that council enacts the full body harness inspection, storage and maintenance policy. So again, does anybody have any questions on that? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're having this policy now because of the bucket truck.
Mainly for the bucket truck and any other sites if I'm working around on any bridge decks or that are 10 feet or higher off the ground, yes.
Okay.
But mostly, yes, the bucket truck for sure.
Great picture.
Now, I'm trying to remember back in my days. Yeah, they've got to be inspected. And if I remember correctly, I think it was cheaper to throw them out.
Yeah.
And buy new ones.
They're $100.
rather than Inspected, yeah.
Yeah.
So, not wrong. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carry. Report 2024-146 lockout takeout policy. Moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bowman, be resolved the council enacts the new lockout takeout policy. And, does any member have any questions? All right, please don't tell me that you never had one.
Okay, then I'd be lying to you, sir.
You never had a lockout takeout. The safety committee never had one.
There's a lot of policies that are coming
Like,
at you.
that's, I'm surprised that the Ministry of Labor would automatic, it's one of the first things they ask.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that. I'm shocked that there wasn't any. Pass that on to the safety committee too, because that is almost, as soon as they step through the door, they say, I want to see your lockout procedure. No, very good. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Report 2024-147, working at heights policy. Moved by Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Henry, be it resolved that council enacts the new working at heights policy. And we know this one's new because of the bucket truck, which is right there. It's cute. Okay, so, does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
And agree.
Okay, next we have the report 2024-148. Winter maintenance agreement for Edwardsburg Cardinal. Partnership with them, moved by Councillor Henry, seconded by Councillor Bowman. Be resolved that council authorizes the mayor and deputy clerk to enter an agreement with the township of Edwardsburg Cardinal for the winter maintenance of shared and boundary roadways. So, we've got a little map there, shows you what to do, which makes total sense. Does any member have any questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor?
Is this just an update on the policy or what, they didn't have one before?
So we have never had an agreement. We share boundaries with 4 other townships and we've only had one agreement. And I've been here for 5 years trying to get this going with my predecessor. Needless to say, I grabbed it by the horns. Here we go. But yes, it's mandatory. It is mandatory for liability reasons. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For those 4 or 5 roads that we share for Edwardsburg Cardinal.
Thank you for doing that.
Liability.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, we have report 2024-149, winter maintenance agreement with Merrick Wolford, moved by Deputy Mayor Wyand, seconded by Councilor Pate. Be it resolved that council authorizes the mayor and the deputy clerk to enter an agreement with the village of Merrickville Wolford for the winter maintenance of shared boundaries. So again, we have the map and the information there. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I just have one question. So if there was no policy before, how did they work?
Handshake and verbal.
The public
We're,
line?
we're very lucky nothing major has happened. So when I went to a course a couple years ago, this was on the top of my list. There was a county in town due west of us and one crossed over the other 2, but they again had a handshake / verbal agreement, nothing on paper. There was a really bad accident. Who's to blame? They're both to blame.
Right.
You've been bound for 20 years, but it's our township. We don't have nothing in paper. So again, liability covering our butts.
Good.
I'm good. Go ahead.
Will the other municipalities be doing the same thing, like Elizabeth Town?
Sorry, so we've had an agreement with Elizabethtown Kitley. This has gone to, I believe, these have gone to the council, Edwardsburg Cardinal last week. And Merrickville Wolford last week as well. And the only other one that I'm working on now, I'm in the mix with North Granville for Boomhauer and towards Limerick Way.
CAO.
I will say is that these agreements have been vetted by our solicitor as well too, so they have been reviewed and there were some minor changes that John made, but it's got the approval of our solicitor, so.
Anything else, anybody? I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Yeah. So the one Edwardsburg Cardinal sent me, I sign off now. How do I know it's right? Like I can read through it. Okay, well, I'm just.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything come through from Merrickville Wolford. Okay, good. So that pretty well through operations. It's good to see a lot of this is getting caught up. So kudos to you and your staff, John, for everything there.
Thank you.
But it worries me, what's not been done. Okay, and especially when I saw the lockout tag on here. So I'm basically telling all of staff, if there's something in your area and you should have something, a policy on it, go to the CAO and insist it get to council. Okay? Don't say I haven't got time for it. He'll decide if you have time for it. So. Yeah.
The other thing I'll add as part of our health and safety audit with 4S is that we are currently actually working on some additional policies that will be coming forward in the new year as well too, that number one, we don't have and we should have, or ones that are good to have, that just protects, make sure that, our goal every day, I'm sure council can agree, is we want staff to come in here. We want them to be safe. We want them to go home to their families. So that's the main driver behind this. So, we'll continue to bring policies to council as we see fit. So.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let's keep on that roll. Okay, planning and building services, report 2024-141, building activity report. Member, moved by Councilor Pate, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wyans. Be resolved that council received the building department activity report for November 2024 for information. Members, have any questions? Nothing, no? Yeah,
The only comment I made is, the numbers don't look bad, but I think they'll probably look a lot better next year.
Yes.
Because rate cut and they're talking for 26 down to 2% Bank of Canada right now. So I think that's gonna get a lot more activity as people say, well, geez, I can borrow some money now and I can build or the new homes that are gonna get built in Western Prescott.
any other questions? Okay, I call the question, all in favor? Carried. Next, we have report 2024-151, official plan review update. And moved by Deputy Mayor Winans, seconded by Councilor Pate, be resolved the council receive report 2024-151 for information. And does anybody have any comments or questions on it? You got the kind of a Gantt chart there, everybody can look at it too and see the timeline. But, started off basically in January, horses kicking.
The only comment I have, and I know you would like this to move faster, but we're kind of stopped waiting on the county to move their plan forward before we jump ahead.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have good momentum on the population one and the other one, the way they're talking, so. Yeah.
And I don't know, Melissa, if there was anything else you want to add to that?
No, this, your worship, was just an update, council on the status of the official plan review. I know Novatech has been working in the background. They've been working on policies and mapping in the meantime, but no one's really seeing that work. We've been providing them statistics and that kind of thing, and they're working on the policies that they can outside the growth management. I guess the concern, and they've provided that revised, schedule, is that if we held the public meeting too soon and then there was a gap in time with the growth management study, we might lose the momentum of the project and people's interest. So they thought it maybe at the April public meeting before council, we'll put it closer to when they expect the county's work to be done. And then we can kind of roll it through the summer, public consultation. People are more around in the spring, summer anyway, in the winter. So we may have better opportunities to engage people, get people out. To see the project and the mapping and the implications.
Any other questions, comments? Good. Yeah, call a question, all in favor? Thanks, thank you. Next, we have protective services. Moved by Councilor Pate, second by Deputy Mayor Wines, be resolved that council receives report 2024-150 for information on the emergency management program review for 2024. Again, nice picture. Anybody have any comments, questions? Chief, do you want to say anything?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just, I was building upon the good work of our previous CMC, Hans Warren Reckler. And, it was an interesting year and doing some learning, but Ashley and I did, I think, caught on very well and things were going good.
Good. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carry. Thank you. Okay, next we have notice of motions, and other than the one motion here, does anyone have a motion to bring forward? Okay, I see none, so there is one motion. I cannot be chair because I brought the motion forward, so the deputy's gonna take over. And we'll go from there. Only for the notice of motion. Sit here or just.
No, I can do it from here. You got the motion?
It's in the,
No. This one right here?
yeah, that's one.
Okay.
Who's got the paper there?
All right. So whereas in March 2021, the United Counties of Legion Gravel completed a study from Act Consulting on the possibility of a regional fire service within the county, and whereas this study was not advanced to proceed due to members of council not being in favor of regional fire service, and Whereas recently, Town of Gananoque brought forward to the Joint Services Committee a resolution to conduct a study on the possibility of a regional fire service. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Augusta does not wish to participate in a regional fire service for the county, and furthermore, the Township of Augusta will continue to collaborate with other municipalities in reference to fire service agreements, purchasing incentives, mutual aid, fire sites, and new fire stations, training and assisting where it is feasible for the township. And I guess I should have started, moved by Mayor Shaver and seconded by Councilor Payne. So, any questions or discussion on this?
It's,
Why, yeah, no, see it there.
I just want
I
to
put my
say,
hand up because I have something to say.
you know, to me, going through the thrilling page turning reading that I did over the weekend. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I don't see any benefit to the taxpayers of the township. Actually, if anything, and I'm assuming Rob, it was Rob that put together the information that we got over the weekend from 2021. If anything, I think Augusta's got more to lose in the game out of a regional fire service. There are definitely advantages for some of the regional government municipalities. We're not one of them. So, you know, I'm glad to see this, that we do not wish to participate, because there would be no way I would ever vote in favor for something like that. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I brought this motion forward, where it stands from is, as I mentioned earlier, the joint services at the counties. The mayor of Gananoque brought up 2 things. He brought his council passed a resolution to look at a regional police service and a resolution to look at a regional fire service. I spoke my opinion on the regional fire service. As far as the regional police service goes, I'm just sitting and waiting to see where that ends up. Anyway, I'm just waiting on that one myself. Anyway, but the fire service one, I know Mayor Malenka had it last term and he was against it. I was not too sure how many townships were for it or were against it. So, that wasn't clear to me. But I can't look at the past, I'm gonna look forward. So Paul Max, who put the report together, my own personal opinion, I did not think it was a good report. I think it's all one-sided, but that's my opinion. I've seen a lot of reports in my lifetime. I know the report cost about $60,000. They give a lot of statistics on reporting and death time and how long to a fire and all this, much like the paramedics do. And I'm sorry, but we all live out in the country, okay? We all work out in the rural. So do I expect the fire department to get my house in 6 minutes or 4 minutes? I do not. Do I expect an ambulance to get in my house in that time? No, I do not. So, and I just don't see it. And of course, they're using those statistics to get the fire call times down and everything else. I don't think you'll ever achieve that, you know, unless you have a good fire department that's strategically located in the township and that everybody's doing everything right. And even then, it's a matter of luck sometimes, weather, that sort of thing. The other thing it doesn't take into account, I think it just looks at townships, but we're right along the 401. And we have a lot of, you might say, business there. And just, that's not the same as being in Marrickville, Wolford, or in the Rideau Lakes. They also mentioned vehicles, 20 years. I wish it was 20 years, but our chief keeps coming to us about every 12 years. Now, he's a pain, I realize that, but he's very good at selling what he wants. And it's usually 12 to 15 years for a vehicle. And they're saying they're gonna replace one every 20 years. Well, okay, and by a regional force, they're not saying who's going to get it. So I could see fire departments or fire stations in different locations having a lot longer aged vehicles. in my own opinion. But I think we're fortunate to have the chief to keep us on our toes. We have to push them back sometimes a couple of years, but that's fine. Maintenance on vehicles, I've never heard a maintenance problem on one of our fire vehicles. So maybe I'm not listening, and they seem to be, that was a big problem. And they'd have to hire maintenance people on this. So again, I've never heard, and within our township in the last 6 years, any real maintenance problem. There has been equipment, like, the thing we just bought there. Anyway, stuff like that. Bunker gear they talked about, and they were very vague on that thing, and more or less said to me, you're lucky if you get the bunker gear. And I know the chief, again, that's another area he's very good at, so many years. We know we don't have to do it, but he pushes us, and we push back a little bit, but it's for the benefit of our volunteer firefighters. So fire stations and the new report, North Augusta wouldn't exist. So it'd be gone. And associations, the chief mentioned, they put in between Lee's Auxiliary and Firefighters Association, they put in over $500,000 into the kitty. And they've put that towards equipment and everything else. And I know other fire departments do it, but I just wonder how many more, because, it takes somebody like Rideau Lakes who has 6 different fire stations, it's not always possible. So those are just some of the reasons as I went through it. But the big thing is our firefighters are mostly like generationalized, you might say. It's the families that live around those fire stations that actually make those fire stations work. The Curtin family, the Bowman family, the ones out in North Augusta, we all know the names, sort of thing. So, and they, they're in there every day, taking pride. They don't have to be. And that was something else that came out in the report. They left spaces, cut down on staff, but then they had volunteers in certain positions. Well, what volunteer is gonna go in there and work 8 hours a day? I couldn't see that. Now, our people will hear because they have a sense of belonging to those fire departments. So I struggled with this one over the last 2 weeks because I'm totally against anything being regionalized. And that's through my military, and also St. John Ambulance is going through it now. And I'm looking at the health board, and I give that 2 years to see what's gonna happen with the 500 employees. So, and they say it's all cost cutting, but if you look at the costs, they seem to spend more and get more money. So anyway, that's my opinion. But anyway, I thought this as a mayor, and I decided to put the notice of motion forward. Because when I go back to counties, I want to make sure where this council stands. Do they want to regionalize the fire departments, fire services in the county? If you do, okay, I'll just sit there and we'll put things together. But if we're still, if you don't, and we want things left the way they are, and things are working great for us, we're not struggling financially, we have other responsibilities in this community too, such as, our Maitland Industrial Park. And the chief is good at telling us what the service agreements we signed. So, going forward, the only thing I see is if we decide to do a new fire station in North Augusta, well, then we have to strategically place it, taking into consideration the other townships, not our own township. So that's what I see. And that's why I kind of mentioned it in the notice of motion.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay, you're not done yet.
oh no, I got no more. So unless I say something wrong, you can't turn me off.
I only had 3 minutes.
No. So anyway, I'm also gonna ask for a recorded vote on this from the members. So, when we go to vote for it. But that's my feeling, and, if this township agrees that does not want a regional forest, at least we're communicating to our residents and we're communicating to the rest of the counties. I don't know how it works with counties. Do we have a choice? We may not, because we're a lower tier, but at least hopefully this council said their piece. Anyway, so, anyway, I'm done.
All right, Councilor Pate, and then Councilor Ball.
Thank you, your worship. No, I wanted to echo what Jeff brought it up as well, but, you know, the fact that, and I know a lot of the people that may be listening or watching this after the fact did not see it in the package, but the North Augusta Fire Hall would be gone if we went this route. And it would actually cost the township more, than it is now. And so I don't know, I just find that, you know, less service, you know, I really struggled going through this to see what exactly they're trying to sell as the gain with this. So, I'm glad that Jeff brought it forward and, you know, definitely, I agree that we need to make the firm stand that we are not in favor of this at all. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Councilor Bowman?
And a lot to what Jeff talked about, you know, the bunker gear and stuff like that. Right now, with the way we are, we have control over our budget and the services that we provide to, our residents. And if we were to do this, then we wouldn't have, if we were to go to a regional, you know, we may not have that opportunity. And also to what Jeff said, they always think it's gonna cost less, but it's probably gonna cost more and we'll get less of the services that we can provide to our residents right now. You know, and again, with the trucks, you know, they make that decision where that truck goes. You don't get that choice. So I think I think it goes a lot deeper than, you know, what is, and I was a part of that force for 13 years and I'll support that through and through.
I think, and the reason I brought this forward, because I think this council needs to put a stick in the sand and say, this is where we are.
So, and my take on this is that we need cooperation. That's what we're at. What I would like to see, Chief Owen, and I know you're already doing this, but if you need bunker gear, check, see whoever else needs bunker gear, and if we could do some, bulk purchases, that would be great. If it's in our benefit. If it's not in our benefit, then don't do it. But if we went regional, we lose the pride in Augusta firefighters. We lose that service, we lose the volunteers, so. And it's great to have, because the Augusta firefighters are the best and they know they're the best, but Edwardsburg Cardinal thinks they are the best too. And that's what helps the 2 firefighters, and all the firefighters do a great job because they got pride in their association. So I'm for this all 100%. So anybody else? Okay, so then, we'll do a recorded vote. Councilor Bowman? For?
You're gonna say yay or nay or something.
Nay, so I'm for it, yes.
For, you're for. Councilor Henry?
I'm for it.
For. Councilor Pate?
For
Mayor Shaver?
For it.
For. And I'm for. That's unanimous. That's carried. Thank you.
Who's standing there?
I'll turn the chair back to you.
we didn't take it back in.
I had to give it up.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you for all that. And like I said, if the police one comes up, I don't think it will. I could wrong before. I just don't think it's going to develop at all. So next is bylaws. Moved by Councilor Pape, seconded by Deputy Mayor White, be resolved the bylaw number 3747-2024 being a bylaw to stop, up, close, and sell part of road allowance, we can describe as road allowance between concession 1 and 2, Township of Augusta, County of Grenville. Designated Part 7 on 15R-12483 being part of PIN 68148-0320 LT be read a first time, second time, and third time be enacted as read. Anybody have any questions, comments? Okay, we'll call the question, all in favor? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wyman, seconded by Councillor Pate, be resolved that bylaw number 3748-2024 being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 3727-2016, 3262-2016, and 3629-2023, read a first time, a second time, a third time, be enacted as read. Any comments, questions for anybody? Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor? Here. Here. Okay, announcements. Does anybody have any announcements? Yes, Councillor Payne.
I'd like to wish, Councillor Michelle Bowman a happy belated birthday.
Oh.
What about me?
Oh.
When was your birthday?
The 9th.
Mine was the 11th.
You should have had a drink together.
December babies, what can you say? Yeah. Thank you.
I was only 29 though.
Any other announcements?
Thank you.
Okay, we have the food bank Saturday. Be there at noon, I guess, for the Challenge Cup, you might say. And staff party is Friday at noon. And anyway, those helping out the spirit of giving, I'm going probably about 10 o'clock Friday morning. See what I can do, but that's about it. As far as, unless somebody else has announcements. Yes.
I guess one more thing, it's not really an announcement, but, I want to thank staff as we end this year, and our second year as council for all their assistance and all their hard work over the last several years. It's, being a rookie on this ride, it's been a lot of guidance, a lot of many conversations and just helping, and it's good to see a team that's all dedicated to doing what's best for this township. And, I want to thank you guys all. You're an amazing bunch, and we would be missed without any of you.
I agree.
Yes, thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, any questions from the press? No, online. Any questions from the public? Lori?
I have one question. It's regarding the job positions, that communication summer day camp position. Are they just adding on to what that girl's doing now? That girl that's in that position of the summer day camp, is she not already working?
Yes, that is correct. It'll be a transition to a full-time contract position for a year, just to see how the communication portfolio can evolve throughout the year, and then from there we'll make a decision.
So then with the rest of the summer day camp program, like last year, are you going to apply for grants to hire that staff again like you did last year?
Yep, yeah, so they're already working on the Canada Summer Jobs already, which is due December 19th.
But she won't be under part of that. She'll be under the township's umbrella now, right?
Yeah, but it was all under the township to begin with.
Oh, was
Last
it?
year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I
was.
was wondering.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, any others? No? All right, we are learning up here. Anyway, we do have a closed session, but I don't see it on the agenda. We should have caught.
Next page. Next page.
I saw it.
And so,
No,
it's on page 3.
That's what I'm looking for. There's an easier way, don't you?
Are you scrolling all the way up?
Yeah. That's the easier one.
No, I only use 3 pages. I'm not used to 3 pages. Yeah. Okay, so we have a closed session tonight. And, moved by Councilor Pate, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans, be resolved, this council moved into a closed meeting at, I'll say 7:25 PM. As per municipal act, chapter 25, SL 2001, section 239, practice to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, board appointments, and proposed or pending acquisition, disposition of land by the municipalities, industrial park purchase, sale, and agreement. So I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, so 7:25.
Okay, so we're back live, Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Page, second by Deputy Mayor Wines, be resolved that the council met in closed session to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Council provided instruction to staff. Correct? Yeah. All in favor? Carried. Yeah. Sorry. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wyman, seconded by Councillor Pate, be it resolved the council appoint. Oh, his name. Brian Purcell as the Augusta Township Community Representative to the South Grenville OPP Detachment Board for the remainder of the term of council. All in favor? Carried? Yeah. Moved by Councillor Page, seconded by Deputy Mayor Winans. Be it resolved, the council met in closed session, discussed the proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality. Excuse me. Provide instruction staff.
Yeah.
Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Kim? Moved by Deputy Mayor Wyman, seconded by Councillor Page, be resolved the bylaw number 3749-2024, confirm the proceedings of council of the Township of Augusta at its meeting held on December 16th, 2024, be read a first time, second time, and a third time, and be enacted as read. All in favor? Carried. Two. Moved by Councillor Page, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wyman, be resolved this council do now adjourn at 7:58 PM until January 13th, 2025 at 6 PM or to call the mayor's election meeting. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. See?